Yeah, so absolutely excited to have Harrison Storm on the podcast today, man. I appreciate you taking time. How have things been going for you?
Good. Yeah, I'm what am I, 6 weeks into touring over in Europe. I've released my album last month, while just before I started touring, so it's been like a wild 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But spirits are high. There's been some really amazing moments over the past 6 weeks.
Yeah. So I'm curious, like in terms of, have you toured the States before?
Yeah, and like a few times.
What what was like the difference between like touring Europe and then touring the States? Like what is is there like a huge difference or is it pretty similar for you guys?
I feel like I mean, like very different.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously it depends if you're doing like a flying tour or if you're driving. I did a driving tour in February 2020, actually, just before the pandemic, and we drove east to west, and I mean, that was an amazing experience getting to see some of the landscapes.
Yeah.
But like people are different from city to city in Europe, and that was the same. So it's crazy. Like people just react so differently in different places that are maybe like an hour apart.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. So usually where I start is like what what music did you kind of grow up listening to? Like what were your parents listening to? And then kind of when you found your own ear for music, what did you really gravitate towards?
Mm. So there was a lot of singer-songwriters growing up with my parents. Bob Dylan, Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, the Eagles,
Mm.
kind of all those classics. So yeah, I definitely gravitated towards that style. And then I guess I was really kind of interested in like probably the softer songwriters. Yeah, some Australian songwriters. I found Ben Howard and just became obsessed very
Mm.
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben Howard's a good one. I feel like recently too, I feel like there's more and more of this like I don't want to call it like calling it indie folk seems really weird at this point because it's like folk has really hit like a mainstream feeling at times, but I feel like there's a lot more folk-ish artists coming out of Australia. Like I think of like Sons of the East, like artists in that kind of vein of music, and it's really interesting to see it kind of evolve across the world and kind of find its foothold a little bit for me at least. Um, so your new album out just over a month now, Empty Garden, and I would just love to hear kind of the backstory on it and kind of the overarching themes. You know, having listened to it myself, I have thoughts and questions, but yeah, I'd love to hear your side first.
Mm. I think a large chunk of the songs come from a breakup, I guess classic songwriter stuff, the past few years. And yeah, I guess it was so yeah, I'm exploring a lot of grief and heartache and that shift that you have when you have like a significant kind of breakup where it's
Yeah,
like you really have to learn some deep lessons. Um, and then I guess on the flip side of that, there's always a lightness to my songs and like ideas that I'm exploring. So there's a song where I wrote when I was traveling in my van, kind of by myself on the east coast of Australia, in between like little riding trips. So there's definitely some lighter moments in that, and just like a lot of reflection on what it means to be a good partner and a good human and a good lover and all of these sort of things.
yeah, yeah. I think having listened through it, the song I keep going back to, I feel like is a song called "Someone Else." You have Winona Oak on it, and it is just like it is beautiful. It is um, yeah, I just can't stop listening to it. Honestly, I would love the story behind that one, maybe specifically, and kind of what it was like working with her. And
Mm, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I love that song as well. That song was actually written with a really good friend of mine in Australia. Her name's Brittany May. I've done some music with her in the past. And yeah, that story. So I had this little Airbnb booked where Brittany and I were due to do some writing together, and she actually at that point in time was going through a breakup.
Mhm.
So we didn't actually end up writing for a little bit. We were just talking a lot for, what felt like a few days, just unpacking that. And just, I was just, being a friend, just, a shoulder to lean on, so to speak. And she left that night, and I was sitting around the dining table, and I wrote this chorus because I felt like I'd just kind of absorbed everything that we'd spoken about. And I really felt like I was channeling this grief of losing someone in a really devastating way. And she came back the next day, and I played this chorus to her, and she just started crying, was totally relating to this grief that was sitting in this chorus. So we went to the park and sat down and just kind of, created this story around this emotion that we were both connected to via her breakup. And then, I wanted to find I guess like the most suitable voice for it. Brittany, there is a version with Brittany,
Mhm.
but she started studying medicine and going down like another path. So she's like, I'll give this song to someone else.
Yeah.
And we found Winona and her vocals and her emotion. As soon as I've heard the first mix back, I was just like, this is so much more
Yeah.
than what I expected. So yeah, Winona came over to Australia for 5 days, and we made some music videos and all this type of stuff, and we really connected. I'm actually seeing her for the first time tomorrow. She's playing at my Amsterdam show.
Amazing. I
Yeah.
love that. Is that kind of typical of your songwriting to like you kind of build off of this one like world build around like a feeling or an emotion, like, or is it kind of atypical to how you normally write?
Yeah, it always comes from a very real personal experience that I'm going through that I'm needing to get off my chest.
Yeah.
And yeah, I always let the emotion of the melodies kind of dictate what the story wants to be. Um, Sometimes it doesn't always make sense.
Mhm.
Um, and sometimes I don't understand what it means to me and for years down the track. So yeah.
Interesting. So this is your second studio album, is that right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did your approach to making an album change from the first to the second? And do you feel maybe a little like less anxious in releasing a second album, a little more settled down with it, or are you still going through those kind of like jitters?
To be honest, I don't really experience any of that sort of side of releasing an album. Like
Mhm.
it's not, I don't know. I've released lots of music before that, but it's just in a different format.
Sure.
5 EPs. So it was just kind of felt like more music that I was sharing.
Yeah.
Just there was more of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, really no pressure or no kind of criticism of myself or being like worried about it, how it's going to be received. Or I just like releasing music. So
That's amazing. Like I feel like
mm,
90% of the people I talk to on here go through like this uh not I want to call it an existential crisis, but like this big feeling of, it was yours, now it's to everybody. Everybody's gonna make of it what they will, but you still have like some feelings attached to the music. So I guess to be able to disconnect a little bit from the result of it really kind of helps you stay grounded and make music you want to make, right?
mm. Yeah, I always, I mean, I, I probably, there is that anticipation like just before it comes out, I
Sure.
guess, but there's nothing, there's nothing you can do. I just kind of, leave it up to the
You let it
gods. It's
be.
like, oh, my job's done. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. Have you always been, so you've had 5 EPs, 2 albums. Has it always been a collaborative process for you in terms of songwriting, or do you prefer to do it alone?
Definitely ebbs and flows. My first album was, I really wanted to write everything myself.
Mm.
That was kind of a big objective for me, and that happened. I think, it was like 98% me and then the producer I worked with, we naturally these things happen in the studio.
Sure.
I guess, yeah, it's really, I feel like it's really 50-50 for me. Depends where I am in the world, what songs are coming out, who I'm meeting.
Yeah.
If I've got like a big stretch of time where I'm just at home by myself, I'll end up naturally writing more songs by myself. So yeah, it just really depends.
Yeah. So you talked about kind of before we started here, like the gratitude of being able to play, shows to a bunch of, amazing people with people that you love. Can you just like, I don't know, maybe, I know like that kind of explains the feeling a little bit. Just talk, maybe kind of elaborate more on the feeling of being able to just play in front of people with people that you love.
Yeah, it's one of these things, and I talk about it a lot with my bandmates and the support acts that we're touring with. Performing is such a funny thing, uh, for so many of us artists, because there's just like this part of us that is just so terrified of being perceived.
Mhm.
And then you have to open up and be vulnerable, but you don't want to show too much because it's just this very fine balance.
Yeah.
So I think when you do allow yourself to be as open as you're feeling maybe on the day and that's received well, there's just this really beautiful kind of, I don't know, like synchronicity that happens in the room where you just feel really connected to people and they like appreciate that you're opening up and you're, it's this beautiful feedback that happens. Um, and yeah, I don't know, there's just something about that energy that's just shared when the band is kind of in that state as well.
Yeah.
One of the favorite things about performing for me is going out afterwards and chatting to fans. I love that so much. We're so disconnected from humans, being artists these days. So being at the venue, talking to the humans, like giving them a hug, like seeing
Yeah.
what it means to them, seeing the reaction in their bodies is just like totally moves me and makes all of the travel, all of the, late nights so worth it.
Yeah. Is there a piece of that is kind of, so obviously that connection to real people is like, paramount to being an artist and making music. Is that easily translatable for you to like the online piece, the social side of everything? Like obviously that's like a huge part of being an artist nowadays is, this constant self promotion. Do you find that to be an easy task as someone, who makes music, or is it like really, really draining?
Yeah, I mean, there is that part of me that just feels like I'm constantly throwing stuff into the void.
Hmm.
Um, and it can become quite uh meaningless in a way, but then it's you always I mean, I'm constantly reminding myself that like these are like I'm, talking to real people here
Yeah.
and people are sharing their feelings with me and like sending me beautiful messages and they're reacting to things and they're engaging. And I struggle with it. I really have to remind myself that I guess I'm a very physical person. Like I love playing an acoustic instrument. I love like writing it like on paper. Like I love being in a room with someone. Like I can't write music like on my laptop with
Right.
someone that's on the other side of the world. Like I have to feel people. So yeah, it's a struggle. And I guess I try and put as much emotion as I can into social media because
Sure.
like that's just what I like have to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's funny because like for a while, and even now, like there's this big turn to AI, but there's this also like ginormous pushback, it feels like, from artists and for people who want that human feeling, right? Um like, yeah, it's cool, I guess, to have AI spit out a song for you, but at the same point in time, like, you lose so much of that depth, I feel like, when and people kind of are really looking for that connection, it feels like, nowadays. So to be that physical kind of human feels like you're probably in a pretty good spot kind of going forward. um as a songwriter, do you find yourself to, when you listen to music, do you find it to be as therapeutic as songwriting, or is really like the songwriting piece really what moves you the most?
It's a good question. I think I think overall, yeah, when I am, it's like I have this thing with just like procrastinating, like so many people do. Um, and I guess when it's like when for me, it is a therapeutic, it's a wellness, it's a well being
Yeah.
tool, really. So when sometimes I really have to force myself to sit down but then there's a resistance towards that because I know that what I do create is probably going to be emotional and I'll have to deal with that emotion.
Mhm.
And maybe I'm putting too much pressure on the situation and it's not playful enough in that way, but that's just my relationship to it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult thing. I think when I do get touched by listening to music now, it's like it is very moving. But it is that thing that happens once you're kind of in this world. It's like you become that analytical brain kind of switches
Yeah.
on. So when I do hear like a really authentic emotional piece of music, it really kind of cuts to me and it's very inspiring.
Yeah. Does that, I was gonna ask, like, does that analytical part ever? Do you have to like work to turn that piece off? Like, or you're not listening when you're listening to a song, or you're just like hearing all of the production behind it and like um, I don't know, yeah, just like the technical parts that maybe like the average listener wouldn't hear.
I mean, yes and no. I feel like I'm quite good at switching that part of my brain off. I guess I'm just listening for emotion, really. Like I'm trying to feel, but maybe I'm like thinking about that too much. Like I'm thinking about experiencing emotion too much. So I'm not actually opening myself up to what the song is trying to portray. Um, yeah, I do have to. I feel like nowadays I really have to be like moving when I'm listening to music or
Yeah,
driving. So like my brain is like preoccupied or like I'm switched off. I'm not entirely focused on it. So then it's like if something hits me, then it's like more subconsciously.
yeah, yeah. I find for me especially too, I find like on a walk or definitely in the
Mm,
car, like the places where like songs will unexpectedly hit me the most for sure.
mm,
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about like maybe distracting that little piece of your head that's like overthinking things.
mm.
So yeah, I totally get that. Totally. So maybe in terms, we'll switch into like a little more easy of a question. So I like doing this one. In terms of if you had a music class and you were requiring people to listen to like 4 or 5 albums, what 4 or 5 albums would you require people to listen to?
Oh, that is such a tough one. I mean, albums albums that have moved me. I mean, I can only speak from my experience. I'm not like a technical musician at all. Like
Oh,
I'm very much like a basic self-taught kind of guy. So I've always just moved from my reaction to songs. Um, I really love the vulnerability and power in like a Jeff Buckley album. I love the simplicity in some of Neil Young's like productions and songwriting as well. But then I don't know. Then there's like maybe it's like an epicness of like like an old Silverchair album, like Diorama or something like that.
yeah,
And then I mean Ben Howard, yeah, some of his records are just like strange and wonderful, like his later ones. And
yeah.
I really love that kind of listening to an artist be brave like that and not kind of stick to like a formula that he knows works. Um, yeah, it's a really tough question.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I feel like it's personal to everybody, right? Like
Mm.
no two artists, I feel like are going to have the same answer to that question. Um, and yeah, just I think it just speaks to the things that move each of us as individuals. Like no two people are going to have the same answer there. So
Of
I,
course.
um, so in terms of like the we talked about the music and the new album. How do as somebody who had listened to it myself, what would you expect somebody, or what would you hope somebody would come away from feeling when they listen to the album?
I mean, m- when I listen to music, I just hope to feel, I think we're very good at keeping our feelings to us. Well, we can be very good at keeping like our true, like deep feelings to ourselves. And sometimes it's hard to be seen by others, like on how we're truly feeling. Or we might not even be able to understand how we're feeling without having some sort of reflection. So I think when I listen to music, I like to feel seen and feel understood, and I like to maybe have my emotions reflected to me in like a slightly different way, or like worded a slightly different way, or like felt in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, just at the end of the day, just like not feeling like I'm alone with whatever I'm going through is such like a human experience that really helps us. And I hope that people get that from my music.
Yeah. I would, I mean, I know I personally felt that way coming, away from the album. And yeah, for me, I think that's probably true too. When I listen to music, I really want to feel seen or related to, and especially in this space of music, I feel like that happens a lot, but,
Mm.
that's just, maybe that's just the style of the music. Um, so in terms of, every song that you've put out, right? Maybe not your most popular one, maybe, but what is the song you're most proud of?
Yeah, I really love a song of mine from my last album called My Way Home.
Mm,
And it's a love song, and it's just like a pure love song. I haven't written too many songs like that, or at least that I've released. And I feel like I just captured the spirit of the relationship that I was in and the person that was in my life in that way at that time, in a way that really, when I listen back to that song or if I play it, it totally transports me back to that place. And it's just like I just feel like I captured a part of my life that was very meaningful to me and still is. Uh, yeah, it's really like a little photograph or like a little video of going back in time.
yeah, I love that. Um, and obviously I live my life in music curation, so I always love asking, a song or a project that you've been really into recently.
I feel like I've listened to Tamino a lot over the past year or two.
Okay.
Um, totally captivated by, I guess, like the mystery in his music.
Yeah.
And just yeah, in all the interesting scales and the organicness as well of his recordings, and very inspiring. I really want to catch him live. So yeah, I mean, I'm heading out to see Radiohead next week in London,
I
the
love
day
that.
after my London show.
Yeah.
So me and the band have been um, listening to a lot of Radiohead in the van, and yeah, over the past few months, I've yeah been listening to a lot of Radiohead.
Amazing. And then, in just wrapping up, what, what else can we kind of expect for you here coming up in the next couple months? Obviously, you're on tour right now, but yeah, just talked about what we got coming up.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a really important part of my creative journey, and I'm really looking forward to heading back home over the Australian summer, taking some time off to kind of reflect on. It's been a really busy year. It's been a really busy last 2 years
Mm.
creatively, lots of planning, lots of things going on. And I've kind of just got this vision of where I want my music to go and how I want to feel about my music. So, yeah, I feel like I really want to go back to the drawing board in a way. I want to take some time to myself. I want to be inspired. I want to stop consuming, and I just want to start creating and just be really playful, see where things land, see how things feel, test some different spaces, just try and be a little bit different for myself and
Mm.
see how I react to that and create music from different spaces. So that's kind of what I'm really looking forward to over the next few months, 6 months, 12
Yeah,
months.
I love that. Yeah, I think anytime we can stop consuming things in general and kind of go inward is always good. Um, Well, man, yeah, I appreciate you taking the time today. I know
Cool.
you
Thank
got
you.
food to catch, but I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.